What's up? What's good? What's poppin'? What's crackin'? What's percolating? What's really good in the hood? It's your man Theo Butler, and I want to talk to y'all about the ideology of the Black Panther, what it represents in regards to T'Challa, and what we're going to be missing, how it relates to young men, period, men in general, but specifically Black men. Let me take my glasses off real quick because I want to close my eyes because I want to go through my spirit and just talk to y'all. And y'all bear with me. Video won't be too long. So, with T'Challa, we have a young man who's lost his father and unexpectedly, before his time, thrust into the role of being the head of the household. He must now go about the world having to rely upon the lessons that his father taught him, understanding that some of those lessons were wrong. You do remember the scene of him speaking to his father on the spirit plane. And there are times as young males, we have to let our parents know that they are wrong. But there's a way to do it. But we struggle with that. We saw that play out with T'Challa. But what we didn't see play out was how he deals with the responsibilities of being a man, the head of the household. Well, Theo, what do you mean? As a young Black man, without the guidance of an older male, you struggle with that. In one movie, we saw T'Challa lose his father. And in the very next movie, we saw him lose who was basically his father figure, his advisor, Zuri. And someone who should have also been his best friend that he could lean on, through no fault of his own, was his mortal enemy. That sound familiar? With all of that, he has to weigh the priorities of his household versus the priorities of his wife, Nakia, versus the priorities of his mother, versus the priorities of himself, versus the priorities of his household, because they're not always one and the same. Bills have to be paid. Sometimes your wife wants something. Sometimes your mother wants something. Sometimes even you want something. And then you have your sister, your younger sibling, who's reckless. We never saw him struggle with that. And there are way too many African American young males, not all, not mostly, but way too many that struggle with that. And from Ryan Coogler as a writer, from the character of T'Challa, we could have saw that play out. There was also something else that we could have saw play out. Unconditional love. We don't see that enough play out in media, where a man falls in love with a woman, a Black man falls in love with a Black woman, and that love unconditionally stands the test of time. Honestly, we don't even know how to tell a man how to break up with a woman amicably because he's in love with another woman. And that is a story that would have played out in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We would have saw a young man grow into his role as a man, grow into his role as a leader, grow into his role as a husband, grow into his role as a king. You can't get that story without T'Challa. Yes, you can get another Black Panther, absolutely. And they all have their rich stories to be told. As I alluded to earlier in a previous video, Casper Cole has his own struggles that we as Black men can identify with. Hell, men in general can identify with. And yes, that story deserves to be told. But the story of T'Challa as a young Black man, a fatherless young Black man, who struggles with his identity, his responsibility to himself, not only himself, but to his kingdom. And be able to navigate all of that and still stay on the path of righteousness. Wow. That's a hell of a story to not be told. I ain't saying, I'm just saying. Peace.